I love being a Duck. I love working with the young women on this team. My family and I love living in Eugene and being a part of this community. I'd like to say thank you to Rob Mullins and Lisa Peterson for giving me the opportunity to do what I love, where I love. I'm excited to build upon the successes that this program has had. And I'm going to work every day to make the past, current, and future Ducks feel proud, empowered, and supported. I'd like to thank the alumni that I've talked to for their passion for this program. I've appreciated getting to hear their insights on where this program has been and where they'd like to see it go. I'd like to thank the season ticket holders for reaching out and sharing their belief in me and their excitement for the upcoming season. I'd like to thank you all for covering Oregon volleyball. And our team has been back from break for about a week now, and they're working hard every day to become the best versions of themselves that they can be. Our 2017 roster should look familiar to our fans. We lose Amanda Benson and Casey Nady to graduation, but the rest of the team will remain in green and yellow. We have about 3 weeks left in our beach season, and then we have 4 indoor competitions to prepare for, highlighted by a match right here in Matthew Knight Arena on Sunday, May 7th at 2 p.m. I'd like to open up to any questions you guys have at this time.
What's your message been to your team so far during this transition period?
You know, it's just playing volleyball, and let's get out there and work hard and continue to get better every day. So focus has been about every day improving.
Are there any immediate changes or differences you've created with the program and how it's moving forward?
I would say I'm just a different voice, and just excited to be doing what we love and just trying to maintain that excitement for as long as we can. So.
Matt, are there things that occurred during the last 3 years that you wanted to change immediately, things that you thought weren't appropriate or going in the right direction, that you made immediate changes to kind of take in a different direction?
I would say that I've always been supportive of Oregon volleyball, and I will continue to be supportive of Oregon volleyball.
What is your voice? What is the voice you're trying to take and that you want your head coaching voice to be?
I don't know if I can explain it. I'm just me, and that seems to have worked so far, and I hope it continue to work. I think I have a great relationship with my past players, my current players, and the future Ducks, and so I just can only be me and hope that continues to go the right way. So.
Several of the past players have voiced the displeasure at how this whole thing turned around with Jim leaving and Stacy leaving and you taking over. What have you done to bring them back in the fold, and do you feel like you have to work to bring them back in the fold?
Yeah, I would say that I've had great relationships with the alumni that I've got to meet over the past 3 years, and I've worked to continue to build those relationships with them, and I'm excited to continue to do that. So just things I've been doing, just getting to know them and them getting to know me and my family, and so I think they're very, like I said, they're very supportive of me, and they're supportive of the program, and I think they're excited. I mean, they're Ducks for life, so they're excited to remain that way.
The fact that this is all taking place kind of within the context of the beach schedule, has that been good to give you guys kind of an anchor to focus on, or has that been complicating as you look to establish yourself and your structure? You know,
I think for me, I'm really excited to get indoor, but I've had a lot of success on the beach professionally, and so I feel very much at home out there. Just like in here, what it's really been great is that our team is less confident on the beach because they have less experience. So I think they're relying on my voice more out there, and we're just developing a better relationship of who I am as a head coach because they maybe don't know as much, you know. So that's maybe been good timing for us.
When did you get a sense that this might be a possibility?
Of me?
Have you taken over yet?
I don't know. I guess when they told me. So, yeah, I think that's all I can say.
So you didn't get a sense at all in the last 3 years or even this past year that things were going wrong with this program, that it needed to be taken in a different direction?
I think I just do my job, and so I'm here to support whoever I'm working with, and that's the University of Oregon and the administration and the people around me. So I think I've always just done my job to the best of my ability, and I'll continue to be here for the girls.
So you didn't have any conversations leading up to the transition yet? Did anybody come to you and say, hey, we're considering making this change? What are your thoughts on the direction of the program or anything of that nature leading up to when the transition happened?
Nope.
So there were no conversations like during the season or anything like that where you felt like things weren't going right and a change needed to be made?
I would say with me that wasn't really my role. So that's probably a question for somebody else other than me. But nope, I've done my best to be very supportive, and any opportunity that I'm given, I just do the very best I can with it. So,
What was your feel for maybe the morale of the team this season?
I mean, we play in the Pac-12. And so I think anytime you play in the best conference in the country, your morale is going to be down because the competition is fierce. So this was a down year for our conference, and we had 8 teams in the tournament, 4 in the Sweet 16, 3 in the Elite 8, and the national champion. So I think just morale, just for competing in a sport that you love, is difficult. So.
Given that reality and the changeover, do you feel like the stage is still set for this program to continue on a uphill trajectory immediately?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, we return the bulk of our offense. Losing Amanda is, that's going to be a big hole for us to fill, just because of how much she did for us on the court. Casey emotionally was a great leader for us in the locker room. So, but I think the team's excited, to step up, and it's their opportunity now. So,
how do you go about trying to replace someone like Amanda? How do you
It's a great
try?
question. Well, I think with Amanda, she's someone where you could just give a lot more responsibility to. So now instead of just doing more of an individual performance, it'll be more team-based. So everybody else pick up a little more slack, and we'll make up the difference that way. But you don't. You can't make up a single position like that when you lose someone like her.
The press release 3 weeks ago when the coaching change happened indicated that Jim was going to be working from home in a trend to help with the transition in any way that he could, and I'm curious as to what he's done in his communications with you and what he's done to make that transition smooth.
I would say that's something I'm not able to talk about.
What about staffing levels? Are you working with a full staff, or when can you have a full staff?
Yeah, so the outreach to be on the staff has been overwhelming. I think probably my first week was talking, it felt like with everyone in the volleyball community who wanted to be a part of this program. But I have a staff, and they're just not official yet. So hopefully any day now we can announce that.
Has there been any point in all of this where maybe as you've taken over the last 3 weeks that maybe some things you thought were overwhelming at first that you've sort of settled into?
You know what? No. I haven't been overwhelmed because this is what I love to do, and I'm just given the opportunity to do it. So I think you always dream about being a head coach when you're an assistant coach for a while. And so this is my chance, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it the best experience for the team and the university that I can. So it's been a lot of work because it's just been me fulfilling basically 3 roles. But I appreciate it,
So have you reached this point in your career along the timeline you sort of laid out for yourself when you got into coaching?
I've been in coaching my whole life. So even when I was 8, my mom was a varsity coach for a high school in Chicago area, who had Tamika Catchings on it, by the way, who's WNBA. That's a fun little tidbit for you. And I was 8 talking to Tamika about how to pass, and she's looking at me like, who's this guy? So I just think my whole life I've been around volleyball and working up to whenever this opportunity would come. So
You said you didn't know about getting the job until they offered it to you, but were you surprised that the transition took place?
I think that's something I'm not able to talk about. So.
What was the response of the team when the change occurred?
I think that's something that maybe at a future time you could ask them instead of me putting words in their mouth. But I know they're excited for moving forward with what we have in the future. So.
Did you get a sense that they were surprised, or any particular read on how they took the news?
I think anytime there's change, that there's going to be a transition period. So I think they've been dealing with that, So we had finals that next week, and we had spring break that following week. So we've had 2 weeks off from volleyball. So I think it's been a good time for them to get away and kind of get everything together and come back, and they're refreshed and ready to go.
You mentioned maybe the morale was tested a little bit this year. At any point, did any players come to you and express any concerns about the direction, or any changes that they thought needed to be made, or anything of that nature?
So I would say again that wasn't really my role. So
it wasn't your role to discuss things with the players?
I would say it's not my role as far as being just a united staff, you know. So just all being on the same page and just staying supportive of one another. And so, no, didn't have to deal with any of that.
Specifically, what were your duties the last 3
Yeah,
years?
so I've been lead recruiter, and that takes quite a bit of my time. And then I've been in charge of scheduling, been helping on the beach, being assistant coach on the beach, and those have been my main duties as well as on the court. So this past year I was promoted to associate head coach and was moved to be in charge of the defense. So I had that going on. Scouting opponents, game plans, sort of things like that.
Beach program's been around a couple years.
4
now.
years here, yeah.
How do you feel like that program has developed? You know, what does it need? Do you feel like it's found a niche at all yet?
Well, I think we're not far off, and I say that kind of jokingly because I think we need indoor courts. So my first year when I was here, we could go outside most of after winter. But this season, for example, we haven't been able to. We've only had 10 practices, and we're almost done with our season. Yeah, so that kind of makes it difficult, you know, for you. So I think we need indoor courts and then probably a beach-specific coach in the fall when you have beach-specific players to take the next jump.
So last year you were promoted to associate head coach?
Correct.
So obviously at that point you felt like things in this program were going in the right direction. Otherwise, you know, I would imagine you wouldn't take a promotion to associate head coach. I mean, so did the downfall of the program, the downfall of the previous coaching staff happen this past year? I mean, did something happen this past year that just made the administration go in a different direction?
So I would say I'm not able to answer that.
You talked about recruiting. Has there been any response? Do you feel like you'll be able to maintain momentum in recruiting through this transition?
Yeah. So like I said, I've spoke with a lot of people in the volleyball community, and everything's been extremely positive. And so moving forward, the belief in me is strong, is what I can say. So.
Under normal circumstances, replacing the career coaching leader, you know, and somebody who was as successful as Jim Moore was, it would be challenging.
Correct.
But with this added scrutiny, you know, how do you deal with that pressure of replacing him under these conditions?
Yeah, I would say it's still challenging, right? Just be me, and hopefully my passion for the sport and for these young women, you feel it, and our fans will feel it. And I know the team does, and so I just want to carry that and continue to teach them and have a good learning environment for us to get better every day. So it's going to be hard. You're playing the best teams in the country, you know. So despite any other distractions, it's difficult. So looking forward to it.